Alright, so as some of you guys probably know, have been watching the channel for a little bit now, is that I've been making a ton of update videos on all the news we've recently found out about who the St Kilda Football Club could of course be, going after in free agency and the upcoming 2025 trade period. Again, I've gone over all different types of rumours and news by basically every single journalist and their dad, and kind of given you guys my complete thoughts and opinions on it all. But I thought in today's video we'll go a little bit different and, go away from a lot of the news and reports that we've heard and kind of just, put this in the series of videos that I've been doing lately of 3 players an AFL team could target. And of course, in today's video, do 3 players I think the St Kilda Football Club could potentially target in the 2025, trade period, whether this, is contracted players or free agents, pretty much all of the above. I'm going to be talking about 3 players today and even an honorable mention, which I'm yet to do yet. So we're technically talking about 4 players, but, I'll just be going over the honorable mention a little bit. Again, before we do get into the 3 players I think the Saints could, of course, target, I just would like to say that I am planning on doing a Q&A on the channel in some kind of way, doing a Q&A video. So I'm kind of using this video as well as a little bit of announcement for you guys to, go and comment in the comment section down below any questions you guys would have for me, whether this is about the AFL or, some other stuff which would be really cool, like maybe asking about my personal life, like my interests, with movies, TV, sport, all of the above, right? You can comment anything. Again, if you would like to join in, I'll probably be making a video on this soon. So yeah, comment any questions you have for me down below, and of course I'll try and answer them, maybe in a different video or something like that. But yeah, try not to go too much into AFL because I'll probably just respond to them down below here. But if you got some personal questions or whatnot, that might go for a separate video. But I guess without further ado, we'll get into the first player, the honorable mention that I have on this video. And the reason I have this guy as an honorable mention is because the Saints actually targeted him last year, and of course it didn't really go to plan. I think it makes a lot less sense this year, but maybe they revisit it, I don't know. But that does happen to be Ivan Soldo of the Port Adelaide Football Club. Again, it's no secret that Ivan Soldo wants out of Port Adelaide. I think, he obviously requested a trade last year. He was this close to being traded to the Saints last year, but obviously I believe he failed his medical, which didn't end up going too well, and then he's gotten healthy over the off season and has been trying to claw his way back in through the VFL. Again, I don't know if he will play for Port again. I really don't think he has any motivation to play with Port. There's been a lot of off-field rumours about his partner being extremely unhappy in Adelaide, and that has caused a lot of issues personally with Soldo to the point where his performances haven't been that good. But again, I think Melbourne clubs will yet again get back into contention for him, especially because he's healthy now. And he could probably be used as a very serviceable ruckman. Now, the thing is, though, is that the St Kilda Football Club already have Rowan Marshall and they're bringing in Tom De Koning. I mean, the Tom De Koning one I think is a lock because, again, the Saints are offering that guy like 1.5 million a year and like 18 houses in freaking Queensland. That's probably not true, but they might as well throw that in at this rate. Again, I think the plan is to play obviously Tom De Koning and Rowan Marshall side by side and have them going together. And look, they do have a backup ruckman, but it's Harry Boyd, who I've watched him play in the twos, and I don't necessarily think he will be an AFL player. Again, he might play and do okay, but I don't really think he'll ever really make much of a difference in the AFL. But again, they're getting De Koning, so I'm going to assume play alongside Marshall, like we all know. Do they still need a backup ruckman? Well, it's just who you ask. If they're happy with Boyd in the VFL, then awesome. If they're not, then Ivan Soldo would be a really cheap backup ruck who they were already very much interested in last year to bring along into this team. So I thought that'd be an interesting one. Again, the first player I wanted to talk about today, though, and we'll probably go in this order of least likely to most likely on them targeting, but I really did want to mention is Zac Butters. And the reason Zac Butters makes a whole lot of sense is the whole entire Nasai Wanganeen Millera situation. Now, I, for the longest time, have been thinking he was going to re-sign, and probably re-sign on like a 2-year deal. But there are reports that Port Adelaide and Adelaide's offers have been absolutely insane. They're giving him a ton of money and are already sweet talking the Saints into, maybe kind of conceding defeat and like letting him go. So, again, considering the Port Adelaide Football Club don't have their first round pick and they really want to sign Wanganeen-Miller, if I was the St Kilda Football Club, I mean, if they want to get this done, I'd be asking for Zac Butters. That's just as plain as simple. Again, I know Zac Butters is arguably a top 5, top 5 player in the league when he's on, but he hasn't been anywhere near a top 5 player this year. Had a couple of injury issues. The Port Adelaide midfield is their most stacked position by far, and they really need to fulfill out a lot of different positions on their team. The thing is, do they want to give up Zac Butters? No. Do they really want to sign Wanganeen-Miller? Yeah. So if I was St Kilda, I don't think there's any harm in really trying to get Zac Butters, especially if Wanganeen-Miller does leave. Now again, if he doesn't leave, then there's no way this situation is happening. But if he does leave, and those reports that is increasing by the day are true, then yeah, this would genuinely make a whole lot of sense. But this again really depends on the whole entire Naz situation, if he is going to leave and if he isn't. But I mean, God, Zac Butters would be the perfect player for the St Kilda Football Club. Again, I think there are questions about their future leadership as well, and the reality is that Zac Butters is a vice captain who wants to captain a club. So I mean, a couple more years maybe of Jack Steele, and as captain, by the time that finishes, Butters will be like 26, 27, would 100% be ready to take over captaincy of this club. He would be such an important player for them. I think they desperately still need an inside midfielder, and he is, I mean, when he's on, he's arguably the best in the freaking league. Like, I think we're forgetting, just because he hasn't been good this year, how goated Zac Butters has been in previous years. So that's one I think they will definitely look at. Another one I think they will very much look at as well does happen to be Sam Butler from the Hawthorn Football Club. Of course, the brother of, Dan Butler, who has been a really good player for the St Kilda Football Club over his time with them. Again, should have been an All-Australian. I think it was 2020. He was absolutely robbed then. He had a really good year and helped the Saints get to, I think it was the finals that year, where they actually made it to the semis, which is insane to think, like, now that it's like a forgotten season for the Saints, really, that they actually were pretty good that year. But I think Sam Butler actually makes a lot of sense for them, because again, they are looking for, I think they may be looking for high half forward. They are also looking for midfielders. The thing is, they've got Matisse Filippo there as a high half forward, but eventually they want him to be a midfielder. Darcy Wilson, has played high half forward. He's played mostly wing in his career, though. They want him to be a midfielder. Again, there's a lot of players coming, that are going to be changing positions for this team as they get older and more experienced. But the thing is, I think with St Kilda, like when I watch them play personally, sometimes I see Jack Higgins doing all the work in there as a pressure forward and as one of their smaller guys. And Dan Butler hasn't been that good in certain games this year. He's been subbed off, I think, once or twice. I think they're going to need a new forward. And, I mean, Sam Butler would be perfect to replace his brother potentially long term. He's more of that high half forward who can get disposals up the ground. Is finding his feet in the AFL. He's just coming back from a broken leg. But the reality is that he'll be out of contract, or he'll be, becoming into the free agency, not as a free agent, but he'll just be an out of contract player. So basically Hawthorn can match him, is what I'm trying to say, is you would have to probably trade something for him. But I think that would be still a really beneficial player to maybe target, especially if you're the Saints, because I think his stock is only rising and I think he's only turning into a better player. So I think that would be a really good one. Again, the final player I think St Kilda should target, who I genuinely believe would make a lot of sense in my opinion, does happen to be Jack Silvagni. Again, I've left this one till the end because there's still a big chance that he re-signs at the time making this video, and I would be pretty pissed. But again, if he does re-sign, completely ignore everything I'm about to currently say. But in saying that, there is still a massive chance he leaves, and you might be thinking, why would he leave Carlton? They're probably going to give him good money, an okay deal. The reality is they're not really. They don't really have a whole lot of money. Apparently they've got like $1 to $2 million for like to use on 5 or 6 players, something crazy number in this free agency, and they've already offered De Koning $1 million of that. They know De Koning is leaving now, so it becomes like $1 to $2 million for at least 5 players. That means Silvagni, in my opinion, will probably get like a 2-year deal worth like $600K by Carlton. Again, in my opinion, I think Silvagni's opinion, it's not really that good of a deal, considering he's a guy who, for the longest time, I thought was only getting a game for his dad's name, which I still think was kind of true. But at this time, he's completely changed his game and become a defender, and has become a goddamn good one as well for that fact. So the reality is that I think he'll be looking for longer than 2 years, $550 to $600K a year. I think if the Saints went and offered him $650 a year for 3 years, I could very well see him being like, look, I'm getting that contract offer, plus it's from my dad, who is the literal list manager of the St Kilda Football Club. And, you know, Tom De Koning from my team is going there. Why wouldn't I think about it? And look, I think that makes sense. I also think they're looking for that, you know, they're looking for the second and third tall, in my opinion. Like, I think Cal Wilkie is their number 1 tall. They're looking for the second and third. Again, some believe Alex Taru will be the third. In my opinion, if the Saints had it their way, I think they would rather use Taru as like a Dylan Grimes type of player who would let Nathan Broad, you know, David Asprey, or Alex Rance / Noah Bolter, the 3 main talls, take a guy, and then Taru would play on like a, you know, or Grimes, sorry, would play on a smaller guy and then come in and intercept. I think they would actually rather Taru be like the 4th tall who actually plays on a smaller guy because of his speed and quickness, and he can come in and help intercept as well. Again, when you think about it, they could have Lee Lear as their 2nd tall, which we know they're highly interested in, and Jack Silvagni as their 3rd tall. Could you imagine that backline next year? They go from having just kind of Cal Wilkie doing everything by himself right now to having Taru come into the team, to potentially having Silvagni and Aaliyah come into the team. You go from 1 good key back to possibly 4 key backs. So I think that would genuinely be a really good move, in my opinion. And yeah, completely revolutionizes and changes their backline if you have those 4 guys down there. So I think they will offer Silvagni the deal. The thing is, though, now that Carlton De Koning is leaving, they'll probably give Silvagni a little bit more money. I really don't know, though, but it's going to be something interesting. If I was Silvagni, I mean, I don't necessarily think Carlton are really going anywhere. And I think there's a lot of upside about St Kilda right now. Like, they're where they are on the ladder, which is not high, but they're not anywhere near the bottom. And you have a chance to go from their backline right now that just consists of like Cal Wilkie as your main key, to having maybe yourself, Taru, and Lee Lear there, who is also a promising rising player. I mean, how could you turn that down if you're Silvagni? So I think that's what his father is going to pitch him, and I think it makes a whole lot of sense as well. Again, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel, which will be linked down below. Subscribe to this channel for all latest sports content and news. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below as well. If you have any questions for me regarding a Q&A, all of the above, don't forget to comment down below. Also, comment your thoughts and opinions on who do you guys think the St Kilda Football Club should target in the 2025 AFL free agency and trade period. Again, I'd very much like to know. Subscribe to my sports channel, which is this one, my gaming channel, link down below. Comment your thoughts and opinions, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.